What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about it. And I'm doing this video because I want to share a recent experience with the Ombudsman of Ontario dealing with Victor Kasowski. He's a lawyer. He's been employed with the Ombudsman for some time now. And Victor was absolutely useless. He refused to uphold the Ombudsman Act. My complaint was about 5 court administrators out of the Kitchener Waterloo Courthouse who were caught engaging in major misconduct, who were caught blatantly disregarding the rules and the laws they were sworn to uphold. There were several procedural violations. You know, it shouldn't be to no surprise to anybody, but I was unlawfully dragged to family court. With a woman I was never married with, had children with, or lived with. No domestic violence, no police history. On a restraining order application that was commissioned and never signed by John David Ekping and his client. There were multiple affidavits that were not properly signed or commissioned. This courthouse accepted it. I was forced to go to a trial in family court without a trial schedule endorsement form ever filled out, served, and filed by Ekping. That was Salone French. There was Ingrid, who accepted multiple documents years late, months late, and her response was to take it up with the judge. And this all falls under Carrie Rice, their court operations manager. She's a paralegal who has not, I believe, taken on any cases. She has not been before any tribunals. She was assigned her position as a supervisor of court operations at a young, ripe age of 25. And all that tells me, really, from talking to people who've dealt with this courthouse and former employees, is that nobody wants to work at that courthouse. When you have 25-year-olds assigned as the superior senior court operations manager, real adults, if you want to get into it, who have this type of experience, don't want to work in this courthouse. Corruption is running rampant in that courthouse. Judges have left, senior court staff, clerks have left, and they can't seem to fill these positions. And I think it's only a matter of time till someone goes public from that courthouse. And they're going to be sharing, the crap that they're seeing behind these closed doors. I feel like I've been targeted. It's obvious this courthouse has been prejudiced towards me. You got judges straight up, they got caught lying on endorsements, providing misleading information that can't be backed up by any evidence that was submitted. You got judges who blocked out transcripts, who later, which were uncovered, admitted that I should have never constitutionally ever been in family court. You have another judge who went behind my back and deleted her own 10-page endorsement. And later, she changed it to a 1-page. She changed a 10-page endorsement down to 1 page. And that straight up constitutes as forgery. And where's the Canadian Judicial Council? Nowhere. They dismiss 100% of their complaints in their 2024 annual report. So I reached out to the Ombudsman of Ontario because these court administrators, Carrie Rice, Ingrid, Sarah Scott, Nancy Stroinski, and Salone French, all engaged in major court administration, misconduct, and potentially criminal conduct, straight up. But they all protect one another in that courthouse. They look out for each other. And it's pretty scary that that's happening and it's being allowed. And what's even worse is that us, the hardworking Canadian taxpayers, are fronting the bill for all of this. So the problems I had with this courthouse, okay, there were multiple. I got dragged to family court on a restraining order application that was commissioned and never signed. Okay? Under the Rules in Civil Procedure, Rule 4.06e, affidavits, all documents must be signed. All affidavits must be signed. This Ekping, there were dozens of procedural violations within this courthouse that I'm going to get into. But the Ombudsman of Ontario is supposed to intervene with these type of scenarios, and they refuse to do that. The Ombudsman of Ontario refused to uphold the Ombudsman Act, particularly sections 14, 1, 18, sub-rules 4, 5, and 6. And this all falls on Victor Kasowski. Kasowski, however you pronounce this guy's name, who refused to do his job. John David Ekping dropped a vexatious litigant application at my door. That is not proper service. Under the Rules of Civil Procedure, Rule 16.35A and B, it clearly states an application must be handed to an adult. That was never done. Rule 16.091 and Subrule 1 and Subrule 1.1. The affidavit of service to the lawyer's certificate. The lawyer must be satisfied with the service. This is what I'm talking about, dealing with this bonehead, John David Ekping. He has no boundaries of lying to the court. And the courts know this, and they're not doing anything to help me. This guy dropped off a vexatious litigant application at my door, which wasn't even properly signed. He had to fix that. In this courthouse, Carrie Rice and her team accepted it. I was unlawfully dragged to family court with a woman I was never married with, had children with, or lived with. No domestic violence, no police history. The restraining order application was commissioned and never signed, and these court clerks accepted it. And at the time, it was Sarah Scott, who was the operations manager for the family court, and this negligence should fall under her wrongdoing. But now Carrie Rice is taking everything over, and this should fall under Carrie Rice. I got dragged to court unlawfully on a restraining order application that was never properly signed. These judges knew it, and when I brought it up to their local senior judge, all these procedural violations, he said, "We're here now, we're going to deal with it." This courthouse ran solely on kangaroo court rules when dealing with me. They did not abide by these rules. The trial record, Rule 23, Subrule 1, was supposed to be served to me 20 days before that trial. It was served to me like 5 or 6 days. Another rule that Justice Gibson ignored. And then when I try to get those audio recordings from Justice Martha Ann Tweedy, where she is heard filling out Ekping trial schedule endorsement form, which is she is not supposed to do. It is Rule 17, Subrule 11 states that parties must fill out, serve, and file this form before any trial is ever scheduled. Well, Ekping never filled it out. He never filed it. Salone French, she went ahead and scheduled the trial, and this form was never filed with the courts. When I requested for that audio recording from that day in November when Justice Tweedy filled out the forms, and at that same hearing, Justice Tweedy admitted that I should have never constitutionally ever been in family court. Yet she still threw me into a trial. She threw me into a speak to, and then I had to go through a trial, which I was given less than 24 hours notice for that trial. And apparently this is a tactic that these courthouses use on self-represented litigants, particularly men who they don't like. So you don't have enough time to get your support, right? What kind of courthouse that's supposed to run off of fairness that Doug Downey promotes all the time? Oh, we want to give you access to fair justice, which I never received. How are you supposed to give someone fair access to fair justice when you give them less than 24 hours notice for a trial? Justice Tweedy refused to give me those audio recordings, and she tried to reference under the Consolidated Provincial Practice Direction Section F that litigants are not allowed to have these audio recordings. Whatever she said in that nonsense response, it cannot be found on this consolidated provincial practice direction. In fact, when I go on there, it clearly states that any litigant part of a matter is entitled to the audio recordings. They have to make a request. Well, I did that, and Nancy Straczynski refused to answer my emails, which confirms even more the compelling, ongoing backroom conversation about how this courthouse has been directed to mistreat me. They have been directed to treat me in a prejudiced manner, because that's what they did. Nonstop, to start to finish. Judges got caught lying on endorsements, providing misleading and contradictive statements that were only out to hurt my reputation. A judge blocked out 2 pages of transcripts, later admitted, when it got uncovered, she said that I should have never constitutionally ever been in family court. Another judge went behind my back, tried to be sneaky and delete a 10-page endorsement and changed it to 1 page. That is straight up forgery. And if the Canadian Judicial Council isn't going to do anything about these judges, then they are riddled with corruption. The Law Society of Ontario refused to investigate Ekpyong and my complaints. They are riddled with corruption. Who else is there? All of my complaints got dismissed, including this one with the Ombudsman of Ontario. Victor Kasowski, this guy, he sent me this half-assed, lazy response. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, this Victor guy told me on a phone call, which I'm going to play at the end of this video, that he wasn't going to do anything. And that he told me on this phone, you guys are going to hear this on this phone call, that the Ombudsman of Ontario cannot help with court services. This is what their website says. This is what their mission says. This is what their commissioner, Paul Dubé, tells the public that the ombudsman's going to do. Well, if that's the case, then why isn't Victor abiding by the Ombudsman Act? Okay? You go on their website. Well, first of all, the Ontario Ombudsman is an independent free office that investigates complaints about fairness, mismanagement, and rights violations over 1,000 provincial government agencies, school boards, universities, and municipalities. Key aspects of the Ontario Ombudsman, what they handle. Complaints regarding provincial ministries, Service Ontario, health sector, children, municipal services, how they can help. They can investigate unfairness. If a complaint is valid, they will recommend solutions and changes. So you go on their website and you see under Law and Order. And it says, we can help you with concerns about law and order in Ontario. Okay. Including, so it goes police oversight. We can help you with concerns about law and order in Ontario, including police oversight and training, correctional services, youth justice centers, tribunals, and court services. When you got not 1, but 5 court administrators engaging in major abuse, major misconduct, and you got people like Victor Kasowski, however you pronounce this guy's name, who's refusing to uphold the Ombudsman Act, nobody should be surprised that people from the public are upset and going public. And I hope one day that more people start speaking up and going public like I am, because it's the only remedy is public scrutiny. And where's Doug Downey and all of this? Crickets. He refuses to answer emails. All of this crap that's happening to me in that courthouse falls under his authority. Doug Downey should be held accountable, or at least have to answer to what has happened to me. Okay, so the Ombudsman admits that they can help with complaints with court services. They can help with complaints with the Ministry Attorney General, which falls under the court services. My complaint was about court administrators who were caught breaking the rules and laws, and they were abusive, and they targeted me because it seems pretty obvious they were instructed to do this to me. This isn't a couple little mistakes. These are dozens and dozens of procedural violations that this court administrators, these court administrators engaged in. So I sent this complaint. Victor told me in a phone call that he's not going to help me. He's refusing to investigate, which he did. But what I found in the Ombudsman Act the Ombudsman Act is Section 14, function of ombudsman. And these are important because Victor should have respected the Ombudsman Act that he is sworn to uphold, and he refused to uphold the Ombudsman Act. So 14, sub-rule 1, the function of the Ombudsman is to investigate any decision or recommendation made or any act done or admitted in the course of administration of a public sector body and affecting any person or body of persons in his, hers, or personal capacity. This is exactly what happened to me. This courthouse, 21 employees in that courthouse collectively collaborated and destroyed my finances, and they destroyed my reputation because of these egotistic judges. One in particular, their local senior judge who didn't like me, Justice Michael Gibson, unlawfully forced me to go through that trial on a restraining order application that was never signed, with a trial schedule endorsement form that was never filled out, served, and filed. And what? Everyone's too chicken shit to help me out and speak up and talk because he's the only judge in Ontario sitting in the Superior Court with his judicial training from the Canadian Armed Forces? Look, this judge is the biggest problem out of everybody. These court staff, these court administrators, and these prosecutors who dropped Ekpin Young's charges know damn well they were given instructions to do this to me. It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret. This all falls under his direction. What Justice Ian Smith did to me, what Justice John Kurchenko did to me, what Justice Katrina Bray did to me, what Justice Martha Ann Tweedy did to me, what Deputy Crown Attorney Armin Sethi did to me, what Wilson Lim did to me, Alana Fedak, what she did to me, Carrie Rice, Salone French, Sarah Scott, Ingrid, whatever her last name is, Nancy Straczynski, Paul Williams, Crown Attorney, all these people treated me like shit, and they bent and broke the rules of the civil rules of civil procedure, the family law rules, the criminal code, the small claims court. You got those deputy judges, Paul Familia, James Marnett. They screwed me over on my assessment hearings. Ekpin Young got sued for instructing my ex to illegally evict me, destroyed all my property. He got sued, never filed a defense, got noted in default, and less than 24 hours after my second assessment, he filed a notice to set aside a judgment in default, and Deputy Judge Paul Familia accepted that. These guys fucking screwed me left, right, and center, even including Justice Ian Smith. That vexatious litigant application that was left at my front door in violation of proper service. When I brought this to Justice Ian Smith, he was snickering and he was pretty much laughing and said to me, he does not know about Rule 16.3 5AB about proper service. My witness can back me up. And they refused to release those audio recordings where you can hear this judge snickering and say he doesn't know this rule. Okay? This is here. Here we go, the Ombudsman Act that Victor Kasowski refused to uphold. And that was 18. Proceedings of the Ombudsman. 4. Sub-rule 4. May consult Minister. The Minister of Justice and the Attorney General of Ontario, Sean Fraser and Doug Downey, know very well about this situation, and they refused to help me. So they're just protecting one another, but sub-rule 4 states, the Ombudsman may, in his or her discretion at any time during or after any investigation respecting a government organization, consult any minister who is concerned in the matter of the investigation. Well, Sean Fraser, the Minister of Justice, should very well damn be concerned that this is what's happening in these courthouses, and that Millions, tens of millions of dollars are being allocated to these people that I just named that are being caught fucking screwing around and destroying lives. And again, nobody should be surprised that I'm upset and doing these videos because they're the ones that have been caught screwing around. I have compelling evidence and there's no accountability. Our government is riddled with corruption, and that's why this is in Sean Fraser's best interest, because this falls under his authority. Subrule 5, must consult minister. 5, on the request of any minister in the relation to any investigation respecting a governmental organization or in any case where an investigation relates to the recommendation made to the minister, the ombudsman shall consult that minister after making the investigation and before forming a final opinion on any matters referred to in subsection. Okay? And then you go to 6, breach of duty or misconduct. If during or after an investigation, the ombudsman is in opinion that there is evidence of breach of duty or misconduct on the part of any officer or employee of a public sector body, the ombudsman may refer the matter to the appropriate authority. This is what I'm talking about. This Victor guy is fucking around. He's refusing to do his job. He's protecting this court corruption. He's protecting these court administrators that need to be investigated, held accountable. They should be charged, they should lose their jobs, and there should be full public scrutiny. And this is the problem with and I'm going to get into Victor's complaint. You know what? I'll do that right now. His little half-assed, sloppy worm complaint, because that's exactly what it was. I'm not going to dumb this down and water this down and be gentle and speak about this. The public, when situations like this happen, the public goes through this type of abuse through the courts, the ombudsman, but by law, by legislation, is supposed to uphold the Ombudsman Act and do something about it. And Victor Kasowski, however you pronounce his name, okay, he failed to do that. And now this falls under Paul Dubé, the commissioner of the Ombudsman. And there needs to be accountability with how Paul Dubé is running this organization. Yeah, I'm not happy about this, to say the least. This Victor sent me his complaint. It was a half-ass written, let's see here, a half-ass written complaint. I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can read it. But so here's the thing too. I sent this complaint. The complaint that I had sent Victor was, there were several things. He focused on one thing here. He focused on how Carrie Rice refuses to release the audio recordings of a matter that I was a part of. She's trying to say under section 140, because I was labeled vexatious in that courthouse, that I have to ask permission to get these audio recordings. That's complete bullshit, okay? If you're labeled vexatious, all that means is that whatever proceedings you have against the parties that you've been labeled vexatious is that they are stayed, and that you need to ask for permission to start a new proceeding or to ask permission to continue a new proceeding. This is the problem when this courthouse hired this young lady, this 28-year-old lady now. She's pulling this shit because she's got judges in her ear because I think she's easily manipulative. This is why they hired this girl, because she's already done some, if I were to guess, she's already done some dirty work like she did to me. She's allowed all this shit to happen, all these unsigned affidavits, uncommissioned applications to slip through. So she's already proven herself. She's already proven herself to that gang that she'll do what it takes to please these judges. If they ask her to do something, she'll do it, okay? And that's what she's done with me. So this Victor is saying, like, the authority, the Ombudsman gives it, the Ombudsman Act gives the Ombudsman the discretion to decide whether or not to review a complaint based on several factors, including whether there is adequate remedy available. We normally expect individuals to first address complaints to existing complaints process and appeal office. We do not advocate or represent. Our office does not have authority over judges, their decisions, or court functions, which I never asked. As we explained to you during our phone call on January 26th under the Ombudsman, our office does not have the authority to review complaints about judges, their decisions, the functions of any court. Okay? I never asked for that. And that's why I'm glad I recorded that phone call. This sneaky little worm, Victor, he tried to call me real fast and real quick. And he didn't know that I was actually home sick that day. And I caught his lying ass and I recorded it. And I'm going to share that at the end of this call. I am fed up with this fucking government corruption. I am fed up with these complaint services that are accepting tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars every year. Okay? And they have a dismissal of complaints between 95 and 100%. Okay? LICA's complaints, annual report, 98%. Canadian Judicial Council, 100%. Law Society won't even give their numbers. The Complaints Review Commissioner was what, 95%? I'm just sick and tired of this corruption. Okay, so this guy goes on to say about our review. Yeah, again, he keeps saying this. Family law proceedings, as we've explained to you during the phone call, yeah, they can't go over courthouse staff. In response to your complaint, here we go, let's do this. In response to your complaint about court staff refusing to provide you with digital recordings, our office reviewed the correspondence you provided as well as relevant policies. In an email provided to us dated July 9th, the supervisor of court operations explained to you that to request for digital proceedings, you did not follow the required process set out in the provincial practice directions for self-represented litigants subject to an order made pursuant to Section 140 of the Courts of Justice Act. This is just fucking bullshit, these games that these guys are playing. On top of that, I don't need to apply for anything, okay? These are public records that the courthouse, I would not be surprised if they go back and they try to edit this audio recording to take out this judge heard snickering. But if they do that, that's fine. I have a witness that was there that day that can back up everything I've said in this video is the truth, and everything I've ever said in any other video is the truth. I want to share with you guys my complaint with Victor. There was a part of it. See, he's playing these games and he does not want to. I had more complaints than that. It wasn't just this phone call record. So it wasn't just that call. And this is the games that they're playing. And he ignored me. Victor ignored me every bit along the way. He never kept me updated. He never responded to emails. He refused to answer my phone calls. Even still to this day, I've requested for instructions how to file a complaint, and I've asked for instructions how to request for freedom of information. I have absolutely zero confidence that Victor ever did his job properly. He didn't. I'm trying to find out where this complaint was. I want to see, because they're screwing around. This Victor Kasowski is screwing around. And once I find it, I'm trying to... It was more than... Yeah. I sent them these emails. I provided... I want to see that... I just want to find... Okay. Yeah, Victor's seen all these the application that was commissioned and unsigned. He's seen all the affidavits that were not signed and accepted. He's seen the trial record. He's seen the court forms that were filed with the court. He knew that the trial record wasn't filed. I still was forced to go to a trial. Basically, there was 5 issues I had sent to this court. It was basically, yeah, they're not abiding by the rules. They accepted all these unsigned, uncommissioned documents. Carrier Rice is refusing to release the audio recording. But another. So yeah, basically Victor screwed around, and you know, now it's just time to turn up public scrutiny on this Victor, this Paul Dubé, the Ombudsman of Ontario, because the Ombudsman received $33 million from taxpayers' money last year. Around $20 million were salaries and wages. Employee benefits, they had $4.5 million. Services like IT and consultants and etc. were $4.5 million. Operations were $2 million. The office has around 190 employees. In 2024, 2025, their annual report said that they received around 30,700 complaints. And they don't give any information, sustained or unsustained, because if complaint services can't do that, then they're riddled with corruption. And after dealing with Victor and the Ombudsman, I'm convinced the Ombudsman of Ontario is riddled with corruption. So out of those 30,000 complaints, it says that 6,400 of those complaints, they stepped in. But it doesn't say what they did. They didn't do anything. Okay? In my opinion, in my views, the Ombudsman of Ontario is a sham. It's another wasted, tax-funded program that does not look out for the public's best interest. You got employees like Victor who do not uphold the Ombudsman Act. Victor never answered to my complaints. All he did was reference this, me requesting for the audio recordings, nothing else. He left me in the dark, communicating with me, and there needs to be accountability. And I want the public to know, you know what? Don't even waste your time filing a complaint with the Ombudsman, because look what we're doing. We're keeping people like Victor employed who don't deserve this job, who do not deserve to be paid from Canadians' hard-earned, slaved tax dollars that these liberals keep taking from us, and they just keep distributing them and giving them all away. So I guess kind of in a nutshell, that's my experience dealing with the Ombudsman of Ontario. I think they're an absolute sham. You got their early resolution manager there. Alexandra refused to give her last name. I'm about to turn it up on Paul Dubé. I want accountability. I'm not going to be intimidated by any person's status. These are public servants paid by tax dollars. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm not here to threaten anybody. I want to help the public, share by sharing my experiences. If you guys are thinking of filing a complaint with the Ombudsman, don't do it. Don't waste your time. Save the aggravation. Don't keep these people employed so they can turn around and screw around like Victor Kasowski did with me and give me this bullshit service. Doesn't respond to emails, gives me this half-assed response, doesn't answer to my complaints. And that's why I'm glad I had that recorded conversation with them, because he told me from the very beginning he was not going to help me. And he even said on the phone, the only way they can help me is if they made a mistake with my name on a ticket or some type of bullshit. That is bullshit. When you've got court administrators blatantly engaging in misconduct and disregarding the rules and laws they were sworn to uphold, and they contribute to destroying persons from the public's lives like they destroyed mine, there needs to be full accountability. There needs to be a proper investigation. And this is in the Minister of Justice, Sean Fraser's best interest. This is in the Ontario Attorney General, Doug Downey's best interest, because he's out there promoting, shaking hands, kissing babies about hiring court administrators and prosecutors. And look at the shit they're doing to people. Not happy about the Ombudsman of Ontario. And I'm not happy about a lot of things, obviously, because all they continue to do is bury the corruption. They continue to double down on screwing around on the public when they've been caught red-handed. And I can't wait till the day that someone blows the lid off of that courthouse and exposes the corruption, because I think it's going to happen soon. I'm going to leave the video there. Stay tuned for this audio recording with Victor Kasowski, who told me straight up he wasn't going to do anything, but yet sat on the complaint for almost 7 weeks, and then got back to me and gave me a response. a predetermined response he already told me he was going to give me. So don't waste your time filing a complaint with the Ombudsman of Ontario. Thank you guys for watching. I got more videos coming soon. I'm going to get into. I'm meaning to get this one off my chest. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please like. Please share. Please comment. Let's get the algorithm going and expose them all. That's what it is. It's either they're going to do their job fairly and professionally, or they're going to continue to screw around and when they do get caught, they're going to be exposed. This is not something I want to be doing, but it's something I feel like I have to be doing. Because this courthouse destroyed my reputation. You go on Canley, you look at those endorsements. I should have never been in any of those court proceedings. And those things that they said cannot be backed up by the evidence and the facts. This is a major misfeasance case. And you've got these little junior pawns in that courthouse doing dirty work for senior members of that courthouse. And it's only a matter of time till the truth comes out. So thank you guys for watching. This is another video from Let's Talk About It. And thank you guys.
How are you doing today?
Oh, good. I responded to your email on Wednesday there. I never heard back from you.
Well, because I've got a lot going on the go, and I wasn't able to speak with you that day. And like I said, I'd asked you to propose some dates, but it's okay. I've got you on the phone now. I've reviewed your matter, and I'm just going to take you through it. All the matters you've raised to our office are matters that are outside the scope of the mandate of our office. They all go to the rules of civil procedure and the interpretation of those rules as they apply to your case, and that's a legal matter. That's not a procedural matter in the sense of something we have.
What are you talking about? Listen, court staff I've already put everything in that email, Victor.
I know, and I can go through it.
Yeah, let's go through it, please.
Okay, so email A to B. Dropping off an application is not proper service, and the court staff accepted it anyways, right? So the review, whether a party is properly served a document in a legal proceeding and whether to proceed with a motion, that's a decision of the court to make. There's no rule for our office over that. If the court makes a decision you're unhappy with, speak with counsel as to your legal options.
What do you mean my legal options? There's rules and regulations set out by the Ministry Attorney General of Ontario that all court staff members sworn to uphold and abide. You cannot just throw applications.
We're not an appeal.
It's not an appeal. This is not an appeal. This is simply rules and laws and regulations that members that want to go work for the government need to uphold and abide. That is not happening. And
but you're saying it wasn't properly served, right? So in that case, you could bring that up to the judge.
I'm not bringing it up to the judge. Why would I bring it up to a judge who is ignoring the rules that they're supposed to uphold?
Well, if they don't uphold them, then you could speak to a lawyer about.
I'm not going to speak to a lawyer. I want to speak to the ombudsman because you guys.
The ombudsman has no role with respect to interpretation of those.
What do you mean interpretation? There is no interpretation legally by law that Doug Downey has set out. You cannot just throw an application at someone's door and say you served them. I got fucking ass raped by this courthouse, by court staff, judges, deputy judges, and court staff. And this is no little error. This is major corruption going on in that courthouse. This isn't we're going to figure out interpretation, this and that. No. Doug Downey sets out the rules. Court staff must abide by them. If they don't do it, the ombudsman has jurisdiction to investigate. It's plain and simple.
This is not something we have jurisdiction. I'm just laying it out.
You don't have jurisdiction over
whether somebody was properly served the documents in accordance with the rules of civil procedure or something of that nature is something for a court to decide. We don't have oversight. If you disagree with the court's decision to permit that form of service or method of service, you may have legal options.
No, I don't have legal options because I went to the Court of Appeal. I spoke to the manager. I've reached out to everybody. There is no playing this game with these courts, okay? I'm dealing with Canada's most corrupted family court case in Canadian history, and now you're going to be a part of it, Victor, if you're not going to simply apply the objectives of the ombudsman in these type of situations.
Well, I can tell you I've reviewed all of them, and they all follow the same. You're complaining about a violation of family law rules, 17 sub-rule 11 states that we don't have the mandate, and it's for courts to determine.
No, it's not, Victor. No.
Oversight over courts.
You do. Listen, you have, yes, you do. You have oversight how court staff conduct themselves.
No, we have very limited oversight over with respect to certain things. But
then I want to know, what do you guys have the oversight over? Explain that to me.
Okay, so, like I said, we have oversight over basic things such as if you said that, I paid a parking ticket or something.
No. If the court, listen, we've already gone through this. No. If the court staff, employees of the government are blatantly disregarding the rules and the laws that they were sworn to uphold, the ombudsman has grounds to intervene. You don't just do this to people. You can't drag people through fucking family court if they have no legal business going through there. I had no fucking business ever being in family court. I was never married with her, didn't have children, never lived with her. No domestic violence, no police history on a fucking restraining order application that was commissioned by a lawyer that was never signed. Okay? A trial schedule endorsement form that was never filed with the court. You want to go there with me, Victor? You really want to fucking play this game with me?
It's not a game that I'm playing with.
No, it is.
Matters you brought to us as complaints are complaints about a thing that lie within the jurisdiction of the court to decide, and we do not have oversight over the court.
You do. You have oversight how Doug Downey and his cabinet and all of his court clerks, he employs them. If they're not going to abide by the rules and the laws and complaints don't work, I asked you to send me an email about all this. Why did you ignore me?
If you want me to provide a written response, I will provide one, and it will be reviewed by my manager before it goes out, and you will receive it in due course.
Who is your manager? Who do you report to?
If you have a question for my manager, you can send it to info@ombudsman.on.
No, because I'm going to be getting the commissioner involved on this. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be pulling the commissioner on this by going public with a YouTube video. And this phone call is being recorded, by the way. And after we end this call, it's going on my YouTube channel. And I just spoke to Yulia, and that's going on there too. The public is pissed off with this type of service from the ombudsman. It's plain and simple. Court staff want to apply for a job to the Ontario Attorney General. There's rules and laws that they are sworn to uphold. What the fuck is the point of having rules and laws if court staff is not going to abide by them? You cannot throw an application at a door and then have the courts accept it and file it when it is procedural violations. This is fucking major. This is gonna go major. And I'm upset right now. I'm swearing. That's fine. Because you're refusing to intervene. You're putting up more barriers. And the Ontario Ombudsman this is a perfect example of why to intervene. Courts cannot do this to people. I don't need a lawyer. I'm not talking to the courts. This is going to be a civil matter, and I'm going to be going public against the Ombudsman of Ontario if this is how you want to handle this. I want you to rethink about what you're doing here.
Okay, and I've provided an answer. There's no rule for our office here.
Okay, so what is it? I want it very specific, not a fucking parking ticket that if you paid it and this and that. I want every type of scenario that the Ontario Ombudsman has grounds and jurisdiction to help someone like me to provide service. I want every area, and I don't want these little examples of these parking tickets, you paid it, your name. No.
I will refer you to the Ombudsman Act, and you can refer that, and you can see all of the mandate that we have.
I want a call with your manager. I want a call with them. I'm not accepting this information.
If you have a complaint about the service, you can send your complaint and your questions.
This is exactly why you didn't respond to me and through an email. I've asked you to send me an email.
Okay, so it's to info@ombudsman.on.ca.
Okay, so listen, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be getting the commissioner involved. I will be going public. I will be sharing my email with you. I will be sharing this phone call. And this is just going to be the beginning of opening up investigations and auditing on the Ombudsman of Ontario. And I don't even think you realize what this is going to entail. Victor, you're not doing your job here, and basically, court staff have you. I've already done my research. The Ombudsman of Ontario has this. Falls under your guys' watch when court staff. This isn't one or two little mistakes. Okay, I got dragged to family court on a restraining order application that was never signed. I was forced to go to a rigged trial with a trial schedule endorsement form that was never filed with the court. Okay, I've got about. I had a vexatious litigant application left at my door. That isn't proper service. Okay, 3 motions were heard. Confirmations of the attendance were not filed. The Canadian Judicial Council has dismissed 100 complaints. They don't work against judges. Filing complaints against court staff not abiding the rules and the laws they're sworn to uphold falls under the Ombudsman of Ontario. Plain and simple. There's nowhere else.
If it's a matter that falls within the rules of civil procedure or a matter that gets determined in court, if they've accepted a document and you dispute that document should be accepted for the purpose of proceedings, right? That's a matter to bring before the court. It's not a matter we can
No. What's the fucking point of having rules and laws if the own fucking Doug Downey is not going to abide by them and his court clerks?
Well, as you know, we're not a court. We're not the arbiter.
No, you're not. No, but you hold people accountable that it falls under the Attorney General of Ontario and all the court clerks that are in violation of not abiding by the rules of civil procedure, the rules of the family law.
And that's where I'm telling you that's not actually.
Then where do I go for that? Because I'm not dealing with these courts. I'm not dealing with these courts anymore. I'm not fucking dealing with these courts anymore because they don't follow the rules. And then there's no accountability. I got people like you that call me and say, oh, we can't help you when this is something that you guys do. If they're not going to follow the rules, then they need to be fucking investigated and they need to be removed. Plain and simple. You can't be fucking taking a job with the government as a court clerk and you're going to fucking ignore several rules and laws. What's the point of having rules and laws if fucking court clerks are going to turn a blind eye and take direction from judges to tell them to fucking do that? No, there's a big problem here, Victor, and I'm not going to accept this response from you. And I want it in writing why you're going to be doing this. Because we're just getting started here. You think you're just going to say, oh, no, I want a clear example in writing. And I asked you for that on Wednesday. And see, now I'm upset. I'm upset because I'm a member of the public seeking for service through the Ombuds of Ontario that when court clerks don't do this, they need to be investigated. And I'm not going to accept this response.
Well, the response that you're receiving is that the matters that you raised with our office are matters that do not fall under our oversight. So we cannot review matters that don't fall under our oversight.
And I want you to reference the Ombudsman. I want a letter in writing. And I want you to reference the Ombudsman Act.
You've asked for a written response, and I'll prepare one. It'll get reviewed by management, and then it will go out in due course. Okay.
And I want your manager's name because it's like if that's it. I want them to.
If you want to.
I'm not.
Make a complaint
I don't want to make a complaint. I don't want to make a complaint.
Then you're welcome.
No, I want this to be all public. I want this to be all public, and I'll let the public decide on this type of service because I will review the Ombudsman Act. I will be getting the commissioner involved, and all this is going to be shared with the public because this is absolute crap that you think this is acceptable.
And email that request.
I'm not emailing nothing. I'm going to wait for your response. You respond to my email, and I want you to go through every concern I've brought up to you. I want you to reference the Ombudsman Act, and then I'm going to try to appeal this. I'm going to go public, and the commissioner's going to get involved. And they're going to come back, and they're going to protect you, or they're going to say, hey, Victor, no, you made an error, and,
All right. I will prepare the letter, and it will have to be reviewed by manager, and you will receive it in due course. And then you can take such steps thereafter as you wish.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.